The village awoke to the news of Hassan's disappearance, but what was strange wasn't just his absence. It was the mark left behind in the cemetery. At the entrance of the abandoned tomb, massive hoof prints were found etched into the damp ground, as if something heavy had passed through. Next to them, there were human footprints, but they didn't lead out. They simply disappeared, as if Hassan was no longer human. Days passed, then weeks, and Hassan was never found. Over time, the villagers began to forget his story, until that cursed night arrived. The sky was dark with clouds, and the wind howled through the trees when one of the farmers heard the sound of heavy hooves approaching the village. He peered through his trembling window, and his blood froze. There, at the edge of the village, in the shadows, stood the mule of the graves. But this time, something was different. On its back sat a headless body, fused to the mule as if it was part of it. The farmer's heart raced, but his body was paralyzed, unable to move or scream. Suddenly, the headless body raised its hand, pointing toward the village, and from the darkness, a deep voice emerged. Hassan's voice. But it was no longer human. I shouldn't have challenged the curse. Now I am part of it, and I will take anyone who dares forget me. Then a horrifying scream echoed throughout the village, but it wasn't just one scream. It was a cacophony of moans from tortured souls, the cries of children and the screams of men being dragged into the darkness. The next morning, the sun never rose over the village. When travelers arrived, they found something unbelievable. The village was completely deserted. No people, no sounds, no life. Just doors left ajar, food still warm on the tables, as if everyone had disappeared in an instant. But the worst part was in the cemetery, where they found dozens of hoof prints leading from the village to the graves, as if something had dragged them all underground. Since that day, the village no longer appeared on any map. It was as if it had never existed. The old ones say that those who get too close to its ruins at night can still hear the sound of hooves in the darkness, and a hoarse voice whispering their name, calling them to join the others. Do you hear it? Perhaps tonight it will be your turn, so never look behind you.